Starting. We please ask at this time to silence any and all cell phones and mobile devices and be courteous to your fellow moviegoers. Thank you.
Let's all go to the lobby.
And welcome back to the Let It Eat podcast. I know last week we were talking about phobias and fears as well as delving into some of our own. This is going to take it to a new level, obviously.
Got to celebrate the holiday season.
Holiday season of Halloween with horror movies. So we are going to take those fears, put them on the big screen,
and make jokes about them.
So think about what your fear was watching that episode last week, and think about some of the movies here based on what you might be afraid of the most. Might be something to check out this Halloween, man.
Commitment.
Hell yeah, dude.
Oh.
Oh, that was your fear. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
That might be on there.
Sorry.
I know a few people with that fear.
Question. Sorry. my bad.
As a kid, I used to sneak out sometimes and, watch scary movies. Like I saw the original Dawn of the Dead in black and white, watching TV at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
As like, 7-year-old child while my parents were asleep and being like, the concept scared me.
What do you look for? Because let's be honest, you're a big movie connoisseur.
Yes.
Let's just throw that out there. What do you?
That doesn't tie in with my alcoholism at all.
Not at all. What do you look for something in particular for a horror movie, or in a horror movie that you're really attracted to or anything, or you just, if it looks good, it looks good. If not.
To me, I break them down by categories. You've got your slasher films, you've got your creature features, you've got contagion, horror, you have psychological, you have sci-fi. I mean, that's kind of endless. I enjoy, I guess, to try and narrow it down, the most I like are contagion style, sci-fi as well, and psychological horror.
Is the contagion, is that like the zombies?
That would fall into zombies. Anything viral, germs kind of thing.
Here, and drop some comments down below if you kind of agree with me on this. I feel like zombies, like that whole genre, is kind of stepped away from like that horror Halloween scary movie bubble, and it's like its own thing. Cause like
the fad upset me because I was so big into that idea as a kid, and then when I got into high school and everything, once Zombieland came out, I threw in the towel. First of all, I don't like Jesse Eisenberg. Woody Harrelson saved the day. Don't like Eisenberg.
No, but it was okay. It wasn't bad.
He's a great value Michael Cera, and Michael Cera's
It was a cute little movie.
It was a cute little movie. It was fun. Yeah, the whole Bill Murray thing was fantastic to throw in at the end.
But I feel like zombies now, just the idea, it could happen, at any point in time. It doesn't have to be Halloween. Because,
to watch something zombie-themed. I was about to be in real life, that would not happen.
Well, no, but I'm just saying,
not dead people, anyway.
Right, but, I don't know, that's just, to me, it kind of, backed away, and it's, its own genre that could be done whenever. You could drop a zombie movie in February, people are going to watch it, whatever.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I feel you on that one.
If you're dropping Halloween 4 on March,
No, they do Halloween, not Halloween, but horror movies that are Christmas themed, like Krampus. I didn't hate it.
Yeah,
I didn't hate it.
I don't know, I think zombies stepped away from,
True.
That's just me.
True, but you know what? We figured we'd give you some suggestions. Obviously, we can't get through every fucking movie that there is, so if we miss anything, and I'm sure we fucking will, put it in the comments below. What do you like? What do you not like? Even if we do name them.
Right.
Now, I'm just going to break through each little category that I gave you before, whether it be, creature features or what have you. But in between those, I'm going to toss it back at you for some of your favorites and experiences.
Oh, thank you.
We begin with the... Yes, you're welcome. You're allowed to talk. With the slasher genre. Just raise your hand if you're waiting.
Oh, okay, yeah.
A slasher genre defined as usually a killer, who harasses and murders a group of friends. So you've got Halloween, obviously, with Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Talk about a guy who's been chasing the same chick for fucking 30 years.
Yeah.
Still can't fucking get
Story
her.
of my life.
Just give it up, dude. Just give it up. And you know what? Those have gone on forever. The last one was like Halloween Ends or some bullshit. Evil dies tonight. And then it was a terrible movie.
Quick question. Also, do you like a horror movie to have a like a good storyline to it, or do you just like just the killing parts? Like, how much killing can you fit into the movie? That's what
You need. I feel like you need a good story for it to be an enjoyable movie.
Yeah.
Now, have I enjoyed bad horror movies that is just gratuitous violence and gore? Yes.
Okay.
And yeah, all that, the Traumaville stuff.
There's
Toxic
always
Avenger.
there's always
Yes.
a naked chick scene.
Absolutely.
Always.
Yes. Yeah.
At
You
the
got to
top.
throw that shit in.
Right. Okay.
Scream. Here's a hot take. Not scary. Not scary.
No.
He's got a just fucking kid, and it's a person. It's not like a Michael Myers or something like that, where it's like almost like, well, I guess he is a person, but it was almost like he wasn't. He was the undead. Like, you can't kill this fucking guy. Whereas in Scream, it ended up being like It's just
I have a conspiracy.
stupid.
I have a conspiracy.
That's why they made Not Another Teen Movie. It was
I have a conspiracy about that. I think, like, not another teen movie, but like I know
Scary
scary
Movie,
movie,
excuse me.
that they have
like that.
that they have made fun of him so much that's like when you think of Scream, you think of him from Scary
Right,
Movie.
him and fucking Shorty smoking on the couch.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Like when I think of Scream, that's who I think of
Yeah.
automatically. So I don't know. I'm just saying. I think now they look at him as like a comedic joke now,
Right.
instead of like a kill. You know.
I always think of the character you can play in Call of Duty. You know, you can be Ghostface.
I do like that.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Leatherface.
Talk about some hillbilly horror, man. That word, see, it came out like that. Horror. I have to really
Horror.
pronounce that. Right, because
Horror.
it sounds like I'm saying horror movies. I mean,
We're
we can
saying
talk,
horror
right,
movies.
We can talk about horror movies another time. We're talking about horror movies.
Yeah, but you're
horror.
but you're a
rural horror juror.
But you're a horror for movies, though.
Yes. So I guess
So,
it's fitting.
yeah,
All right.
it's all right.
I appreciate your rationalizing on my behalf. That's what it was. Friday the 13th.
That's a
Once
That's
again,
a classic.
right? We're talking about this almost undead being that can't be fucking stopped. Jason is the slowest, fastest guy ever.
You know what I like?
He's like forever away, and then in another second he's popping out behind the tree.
You know what I liked about Freddy, and not just him, but like the.
Or Jason?
No, not Jason.
All right, we
but
haven't talked about Freddy yet.
I thought. Well, you said didn't you?
Friday
say-
the 13th is
Yeah.
Jason.
Oh.
Hockey mask.
I'm sorry. Wow. Yeah, that's my bad. All right.
That's okay, because you
I
were
got
on to the
fucked up.
next one. A Nightmare on Elm Street. Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Take it away, buddy. What do you like about him?
I like the spin, not the spin, but the idea that he gets you while you're sleeping in your dreams.
Some fucked up shit.
That is
Sleep
not-
deprivation
not-
is frightening.
right. That's a mental warfare to stay up.
Right, you could throw that under the psychological horror as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a really good mind fuck there. And then if he kills you in your dreams, you're dead in real life.
In real life.
So
Like the Matrix.
right? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's
Alright.
just, you know, it is fitting in, and it was Johnny Depp's, introducing Johnny Depp
Well,
back in the 80s. Yeah, he was in it.
Oh really?
Yeah, he was in it.
Did
Amber
not-
Heard's favorite scene is, you know, the end there.
Okay, did not know.
Yeah, I enjoyed Freddy because of just his attitude. Now, a good story behind it, because he was a guy that was killing kids. He was killing everyone's children in the town, and all the parents got together and burned his house down. That's why he's all burnt up and shit, and has everything's in tatters. So the curse being that if you were related to one of the family, that child, you know, their kin was going to be basically cursed with this dream monster that kills them in their dreams, and of course ending up being in real life at the same time.
Okay.
So let's say, you know, years ago my grandfather did this, well, I'd be having, yeah, he'd be after me.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do about it. You're a target, basically. And he would, you know, the puns were great, you know, like, you're on TV, bitch, and he just smashes her head into the
Yeah.
fucking screen. It's awesome.
And see, I can appreciate that, like a movie like that. I can appreciate it because there's a substance, there's a storyline, there's a background.
Right, there's a reason. There,
Right.
And even in the unreasonable,
Right.
there's somewhat
And,
reason.
and to me, like, I feel something like Saw, where it's just kill scene after kill scene after kill scene. I'm just
I thought
like,
those pull in some good stories.
But
Did you
something
really
like-
watch the
but
first
something
Saw,
like that,
man?
yeah.
It was great. It was almost like a detective suspense thriller at
Yeah,
the same time.
Yeah, but
Danny
I'm
Glover,
I'm
like,
just saying, like, maybe that was a bad example, but
I mean,
I
Saw 3,
can't.
right? I mean,
But it's just like constant. We're just killing people, and just because the guy's fucking sick or twisted, or whatever. Okay, but you know, I don't know.
Right.
That's just you know.
Candyman with Tony Todd. Never saw that. That's basically when I watched that. I watched it with my buddy Robbie for the first time, years ago, because he was like, "You've never seen that shit," and so we watched it. It was basically like the Bloody Mary concept. You go to the mirror and you go, "Candyman, Candyman, Candyman," and you're the next victim. You say it 3 times in the mirror, and he comes after you. He's got a hook for a hand. It was Tony Todd.
Did he have candy at all?
Not at all. He had bees, and he was Captain Hook. And
So why is it called Candyman?
I
So
don't
you're
remember.
called Candyman, but you don't even have fucking candy. You want to
Or
talk
cocaine.
You
I
want
mean,
to
yeah.
talk about disrespect?
I'm sure there's a reason.
At least give me a Twix before you kill me, ho.
Well, we'll
I'm
find
just saying.
I mean, we can ask around at Cabrini Green in Chicago, but
I'm
you
just
know,
saying.
you don't have to.
Unbelievable.
Final Destination. Like I said, defined as usually a killer. This killer was death itself.
If you escape death, then it's gonna
It's
come,
after you.
Right.
It's after you. And it was, being impaled or, being drowned by some kind of force that was manipulating things against you purposefully.
Here's what I don't understand. Why on the Final Destination, why is there always one guy that apparently can see the fucking future and know why?
Right, he gets the premonition.
Why? It's just the one guy, he just knows, oh my god, Lucy's about to
Come
die.
on, Devon Sawa.
Let me run over there. Like, I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
What
but
makes him so fucking special?
That's a good point.
I'm just asking. I'm asking for a friend.
Right?
I
We
don't
don't
know.
even have the answers.
I don't know.
I mean, no
I
shock
don't know.
there.
I'm
We don't
just-
have the answers.
Yeah.
Child's Play with Chucky. I don't find that scary, but dolls are creepy. Like Puppet Master had a similar thing, but it was multiple dolls, and like chop your fingers off and tie you down. It was almost like a Gulliver's Travels scenario where you're being
You know what
taken down by a tiny force,
Right.
but it's almost unstoppable.
You know what made it good was that there was a storyline to it of the whole thing.
Yeah,
Plus,
My Little Buddy. I actually had one of those as a kid.
plus,
But it had brown
wasn't
hair.
like the end result was he was trying to be human. Him and the
Fucking
wife were
remember.
trying.
It was
I
just-
think they were trying to be human, and then they ended up having a kid.
Right.
Who was a fucking doll.
He fucks
like,
Jennifer Tilly somehow.
Yeah.
I mean, can I get a
Yeah.
fucking hand? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know, but to
if
me,
I could just get a hug, Jennifer, that'd be sweet.
Right?
But you fucking doll,
right?
I mean, already.
And then she's like half
Smoking
doll.
hot
She's
fucking
like
bitch.
she's like a doll part time. Then she's good. Then she's a human. Like at night. I don't know.
And Rob Zombie films, of course, taking on that still similar hillbilly horror of Texas Chainsaw with The Devil's Rejects and 3 from Hell, A House of a Thousand Corpses.
What about House of Wax?
I forgot about that movie. Wasn't Paris Hilton in that fucking movie?
I think so.
That was a creepy concept too, because like when they did have that one person sealed in the wax, and then they fucking chopped the, and then they're like, I'm like, oh god,
Right. Hell yeah.
Nothing you can do. Incapacitation and innate aversion, if you remember from our phobia episode. So what were you into?
So okay.
If you as a kid?
These are this is some of the stuff that I grew up with. My number one all-time favorite was Sleepy Hollow. Headless Horseman.
Okay.
That had Johnny Depp in it too.
Yes.
It was, to me, it's not like a full, like, it's not like a horror movie like today.
Right.
There wasn't like a lot of like blood and gore, killing scenes, but
Right, but what's going on in your head and where is it? Is it coming after you kind of feeling
right. And there's a story behind it of how,
a
it came
supernatural
about.
slasher film?
Right.
How about that?
So I like that. Nightmare on Elm Street is like a fucking classic. Like, you can't say you're into horror movies without having to see that.
It's a classic, bitch.
Right. House of Wax. Like I said, it was something
Good one.
different.
I forgot about
like
that one.
13 Ghosts.
That made my list too.
13 Ghosts.
Great movie.
It has the guy that plays Scooby Doo and Shaggy, right? Or is it just Shaggy?
It's Shaggy, yes. Matthew Lillard.
Yeah.
And Tony Shalhoub, who ended up becoming Monk on that series
Yeah.
as well.
And they have one hot female ghost, which is that's all I'm gonna say. It's very hot. I'm just saying. The Blob.
Yes, that also made my list.
Yeah. Cheesy.
Love that movie.
Cheesy movie.
The kills freaked me out though.
Yes.
The way, like, because you become one with it.
Right.
So, okay, like if it touches you, you start to dissolve. And just assimilate with it, like it just, you know, their faces becoming contorted because it's being melted almost.
Yeah,
It's just
very
off-putting.
Cheesy, and they just made a number 2, Hocus Pocus. It's cheesy.
You know what? I like
but
Hocus
I've
Pocus.
seen it, the original, you know.
That's a great movie.
Gremlins.
Nice. You can watch that Halloween or Christmas.
Yeah, they're just, I think they're fucking cute.
They were a little, I don't know, as a kid, like, it was a little freaky. Like, it was fun at first, like, when they popped out and they were all, like, angry, and then when they cocooned and just bursted out. And then they got fun again, but it was a good balance of, like, oh, I like those things. I'm like, I don't really want to get near those things.
Right.
At the same
And then
time.
Rosemary's Baby.
No wire hangers!
Rosemary's Baby, it's a lot of fucked up shit going on there.
That's a classic, dude.
But,
Classic.
But again, you know,
and your mom told me that she used to live near the Amityville Horror House. Horror House, not whorehouse.
That too, probably. I don't
Yeah,
know.
she dropped that in one of the and that's kind of a little like, because of we were talking about the law of contagion last week and associations, and she's kind of like,
yeah.
Know what happened there? I ain't going there.
We're fucking rebels. That's all I gotta say.
Love it. Love the attitude.
Another quick thought that just came in my head: would Tremors be a horror movie? The original one with Kevin Bacon and.
It's funny you should ask that because I consider it to be a creature feature.
Okay, all right.
Creature features are monster movies, defined as monster movies, giant monsters, or an abnormal creature. Tremors did make my list with Kevin Bacon, Michael Grossman. Great fucking movie. Great series of movies. I enjoyed all of them, even Shrieker Island.
Really? Wait.
There were like 4 or 5.
You enjoyed the other Tremor movies?
I did, because I liked them.
They got cheesier throughout time.
Part of me likes the
The
campiness.
graphics got worse.
The flying
What
ones.
was it, Tremors 4 where they're
What,
flying?
ass blasters? The ass blasters.
Oh my god, it got worse.
But as great of
And
a
the fucking redneck from the first one is the only one who fucking like survives.
Michael Grossman. Yeah, he's a survivalist. He was married to Reba McEntire in the first one.
I'm just
You
saying.
broke into the wrong rec room, asshole.
How that's like Star Wars. They start out with their high tech films, like and then they go to like fucking paper mache, episode 5, and you're just like, what the fuck happened? Like that's what I felt like Tremors. Like
Well, yeah, you
just fucking
any
go
of
off
these
the rails.
franchises, any of
It's
these,
like a
Nightmare on
Sharknado.
Elm Street,
It's like, what the fuck?
Final Destination, Friday the 13th, Halloween, Texas Chainsaw, they've all screamed, they've all made like a bajillion. My father used to tell me the same thing. Was like, these people keep showing up. They keep showing up because of that first one for some reason. So then eventually, there's a bunch of no-name actors in it. The quality production's way down. Some go straight to DVD because somehow they're still making money off the franchise.
Yeah.
That's the only reasoning. I agree with you. I still want. See, I'm living proof.
Unbelievable.
And that also brings up the concept of a very great SpongeBob episode of the Alaskan Bullworm. That was straight Tremors, dude.
Yeah.
And it goes off the cliff at the end. You already mentioned it, The Blob. Based off an old 50s flick redone in the 80s with Kevin Dillon from Entourage. Great fucking movie. American Werewolf in London. Have you ever seen that? 2 guys go vacationing. Matthew, my younger brother, made me watch that movie for the first time, I think 2 years ago. I had never seen it, and it is a classic. And it is probably easily depicts one of the most painful werewolf transformations I've ever seen on film. It really made me cringe watching him turn into it, and it seemed very slow and arduous. I don't envy that. A personal favorite of mine here, Slither. A James Gunn film, the guy that did Guardians of the Galaxy, starring Nathan Fillion from Firefly. Okay.
I don't know.
It's almost a combination of ideas of The Blob because it comes down in an asteroid. And Slugs, which is a B horror movie. I know a lot of people haven't seen. It's a little off the beaten path. Might want to check that one out. Very creepy.
What about Alien versus Predator, or just Alien?
That could be considered a creature feature as well, and also in the realm of sci-fi. You know, their mantra on the movie poster when it first came out was, "In space, no one can hear you scream."
Right.
So talk about not only the abnormal that you're afraid of, but the isolation innate aversion we talked about last week. Who's going to come get you?
Yeah.
And how long is it going to take?
Right.
You're dead before then. But yes, that would fit in as well. And speaking of which, The Thing, formerly known as The Thing from Outer Space, an old 50s, 60s horror movie, black and white, remade in the 80s by John Carpenter, starring Kurt Russell. Big time fan of that one. And the remake in 2011 was also good, I feel.
How about Doom with The Rock?
Doom! Oh, dude, I forgot about that. A lot of people hated it.
I did.
Of course, I didn't, especially when the one dude injects himself and they shoot that whole scene like a first-person shooter.
Which was
It
brilliant.
was amazing.
Which
it was
was
just
brilliant.
like the game.
Which was
And
brilliant.
The Rock being an antagonist, being the villain, ultimately, was kind of cool. You know,
Well, I think he got infected towards the end.
yes, oh, he did. But
Yeah.
but him being the bad guy, ultimately, towards the end, is the final fight,
Right.
final boss
Man,
fight.
they could have definitely made another one. I'm just saying.
They've made variations of them. Some were computer animated.
Okay.
I've watched them, and they're
Yeah. That was a good one.
But they could do it up and do it upright. There is a really bad scene though in that movie, if you can remember, when one of their guys is infected, and that's when he gets up off the table. Like two of the doctor and one of the soldiers
And
are
what,
having
he
a
starts
conversation,
bashing
and
his head on the-
yes, and he starts hitting his head on the
Yeah.
thing. Every time he hits his head, and it's the chick from Gone Girl. She's a great actress. I don't know why. I know it was early on. She was awful in that scene because every time he hits, she just goes, "Ah!"
Right.
And does it every single, and he hits his head like 4 or 5
No,
times. and I'm like,
that's a good reaction.
It's a
what
good.
It
was a bit overacting in my opinion. Stephen King's It, a shapeshifter. I get it. The clown was a thing.
Yeah, you don't like clowns.
I've read the book. The book really puts it into perspective, and although they did change a few things, the more recent adaptations were more true to the book in the sense that it appeared to you as what you actually were afraid of. So it
wasn't Pennywise in particular.
It was Pennywise. Pennywise is the name of the entity. It has a true form, but it changes into what you're scared of, and then it changes into a clown to either lure children in or to mock them after frightening them with what they're afraid of. Because, and to quote Pennywise from the book, is you taste so much better when you're scared.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, a very similar creature feature that follows similar concepts, Jeepers Creepers. If you were scared, he could sniff that shit out.
Yeah, I didn't.
No?
I wasn't a fan.
No? I liked it. I liked the second one more than the first one.
Well, there was a couple hot chicks in the second one, but
the second one was better than the first one, I feel, when they're trapped on the bus.
Yeah, you know.
The Mist, another Stephen King adaptation. Alternate dimensions spilling over into ours with insane bugs that are, like, just imagine, an enormous wasp that would sting you, and then all of a sudden a boil appears and it just chokes you out, and you just are basically
What's that
poisoned.
fucking movie? It was the one, they made Cloverfield, but it was the one before that.
Or the one after it, because Cloverfield makes the list, but Cloverfield was the initial film. The second one, which comes into the sci-fi horror genre, the Cloverfield Paradox, which is what caused that monster to appear.
No,
Same
so
concept.
Cloverfield. I never saw the second.
Right, when they're having a party and the guy's about to go to
and it's
Europe.
all
and
from
then,
like a recording standpoint.
Yep. A lot of
Dude.
people needed to take some Dramamine before they watched that
Dude,
movie.
the fucking girl starts bleeding out of her eyes, and then spoiler alert, they fucking bring her in the tent, and then her fucking head just fucking explodes right there.
If you watch the Cloverfield Paradox, it is a sequel, but basically explaining how the fuck all that shit happened.
Okay.
It will definitely lead you back into a full circle of the story,
Okay.
which makes that an even better movie. And then Clown. This movie's called Clown. It's a little off the beaten path movie.
And it has nothing to do with clowns.
No, it does.
Oh.
It is a real estate agent that's, looking through houses, trying to renovate some things. His son's birthday is that afternoon. His wife calls him while he's at a location. He's in the attic, cleaning shit up. And she goes, yeah, we hit a bit of a snag, though, for his birthday party. The clown canceled. He's like, fuck, and he's still fixing stuff up. He finds an old trunk, opens it up, and there's a clown suit in it.
Yeah.
So he's going to save the day.
And be the clown.
Be the clown. So that's what he does.
Oh, God.
And
Is
then
it like
he gets
the mask where
he
it starts
gets,
transforming?
Exactly.
Oh,
He gets drunk after the party, passes out on the couch with all the clown stuff on, wakes back up, goes to the bathroom, can't get the fucking wig off, can't get the nose off. I can't
Hell
get
yeah.
It's becoming his skin. It's becoming his, and it slowly transforms him into an old folklore tale of the clown, which was an evil creature that had happy little things and little talents like juggling and balloons and all this shit to
Yeah.
attract children because it would eat one child for every month of winter. So what do you do now? Do you kill your husband? Or do you wait until he becomes this thing that may kill your son? Eli Roth was a producer in that one.
Well, if she had any
The guy that did
balls,
Hostel.
she should have killed him right then and there. But I'm
Yeah.
assuming no, because then there wouldn't really be much of a movie, now would there?
The end.
So yeah. So I do have a couple favorites, favorite horror movies. I do.
Ooh.
I have a couple favorites.
I didn't know you enjoyed it that much. Go ahead.
I have a couple.
All right.
Sleep-
Nothing with heights, though, right?
No.
Nothing with good stuff going in your eyes.
Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah, Sleepy Hollow.
I like The Ring.
That was another good one.
It was interesting, and it wasn't just like murder porn. Like there was some concept to it. There was a storyline.
I saw that in the theater when it came out as a kid. I went with my older sister,
Yeah.
and apparently someone in our theater had seen that shit before because they knew exactly when to do it.
Oh, come on,
Dude, after the first thing, or the first showing of like the movie, someone's cell phone rang in the back of the theater, and she screamed, and it was the guy sitting next to her called her.
Yeah, I fucking hate people like that. Halloween, I like
The original?
Yeah, the
Yes.
original.
I liked, and Jeremy Fitzpatrick, our good buddy Jeremy would agree with me, John Carpenter's version, the third one, Season of the Witch, that was my favorite Halloween.
Never seen it.
A lot of people hate it. Go ahead.
Carrie, I like that one.
Yeah.
That was a
I
good
watched it once. The original. I think they remade it.
I've also seen the remake of
They
it.
did. Okay, they did do a remake.
And it's the same. It's
just a little updated,
it's
right?
modern,
Modernized,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, so that was a little fucked up. I like. And you're gonna appreciate this one. Now, this one isn't particularly. I'm gonna explain, but it's They Live. John Carpenter's They Live.
That made my list too. Go ahead and let them have it.
This is why it's not necessarily a horror film. However, it creeps the fuck out of me because we're living in it right now. I encourage anybody to watch that because that concept, and it's crazy. When was it made? In the 70s?
The 80s. With Rockin' Roddy Piper and Keith David.
Yeah, it was made in the 80s, and it's kind of like a Big Brother censorship thing, and it's fucking crazy how we're living in it right now. And no one has ever made the comparison of it. So I know it's not a scary
Obey.
movie, but it's
No independent thought. Marry and reproduce.
And I have never seen it until you had me watch it not too long ago.
Watch TV. I've worn the shirt. Come on.
And yeah, I'm just like, wow, it's crazy to me how some movies like that can predict.
Right. I know it wasn't like high quality and like whatever,
But the
I
story
knew
and the idea
that you
of
would
it.
enjoy it by
Right.
becoming enveloped in a good story, which
Right.
definitely goes back to what you said at the beginning of this episode of like, to me, it needs to have a good story. Even if everything else, the quality is like, but if it's a great story, it can make it a great movie.
Right. Yeah.
What else you got, if anything?
Um.
Christine? You're a car guy.
Who?
Christine? Another Stephen King adaptation.
No.
The car it's like the fucking car from hell. It's
No.
possessed. It's gonna run your ass down, dude.
No.
You're a car guy.
No, I know. Yeah, no. I kind of like The Hills Have Eyes. Like,
Now that
I-
could
I
be it,
don't-
right?
I
More
don't know.
hillbilly horror.
yeah,
That's a good
I don't
one
know
though.
why I don't know
Radioactive,
why.
how we, dropped a couple of things to
Yeah.
test radioactivity, and that's what happened to the locals.
You know why I kind of appreciate, because it could kind of make sense and happen in reality. I
Yeah,
feel.
it
You know
could.
what I mean? Like,
Like Chernobyl, like if there was like a family living in the outskirts in the woods somewhere, like that survived that whole thing, and they're all like weird.
I mean, that's
because
what
of
happens to like a lot of fucking animals that survive, but then they start forming, and it could
In
easily
Japan, in
happen.
Russia, yeah.
And who's to say it didn't happen? They just fucking killed them off, so they couldn't spread or any. I mean, we don't.
Or
we
they
don't
have
know.
them in a little bunker somewhere studying them.
Right. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, going into that, we hit contagion horror. Now, I made a couple on here. One that you mentioned earlier, 28 Days Later, and the zombie genre. 28 Days Later, to me, is the one that I listed because that's the one that I'm iffy on survival. If I place myself in that film or in that environment, that full tilt sprint, man. Like, I don't know. It's not Shamblers. It's not. I mean, although the Dawn of the Dead remake, they were fast as well.
Wait, the Dawn of the which one is the one that they were stuck in the mall?
That's
from
the
a-
Dawn of the Dead
of the
remake.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
The original Dawn of the Dead, they were still stuck in a mall. Ken Foray, as well, who was the dad on Kenan and Kel after a while, but he was in a lot of horror movies. Also in The Devil's Rejects.
I liked Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
My favorite scene of that was when the fat chick. There's a fat spoiler for her. Hold on.
Oh yes.
When she fucking finally turned,
Oh.
I have never seen a fat person run that fast ever.
I've never seen a security guard with the only gun in the room run that fast ever.
She fucking booked it. If you guys just have to at least see that.
Go get the fire poker out.
It was like you see a fat person run into the Golden Corral buffet line. That's kind of what I imagined.
Before they have a riot at the chocolate fountain.
It was insane of how fast she just got up out the fucking floor and just started bolting. Mind blowing.
Right after the
fucking
pulse goes too. When she leans down to the, I was like,
Yeah.
ah, no.
Fucking mind blowing.
Very good
Oh
suspense.
My God, yes.
Zack Snyder directed that, who ended up directing 300 and Suicide Squad in the future, and Sucker Punch. If you've never seen that movie, ladies like it. I enjoyed it too. Cabin Fever.
Yeah.
Flesh-eating disease puts a group of teens against each other. The bathtub scene. If I can reference that,
Yeah.
chick shaving her legs, I'll let you take it from there.
She was hot.
And it had
what about the
It had
blonde?
Corey from Boy Meets World. He
What
was
if-
in there.
You don't remember the blonde? They just put her in the little shed.
No one
Half
trusts
her-
each other
half
anymore.
her fucking face is gone.
Right? You have to, you have to get them away because they could, it's same thing with The Thing. The Thing has the same kind of concept. It creates this level of distrust, and you're just like, could be a potential enemy because they could be compromised. So, who can you trust?
I think that's what people thought COVID was going to be at first.
Pretty much. It Follows. This had great themes. This movie basically follows a teenage girl. A teenage girl who has sex with her high school boyfriend. You know, she finally gives it up or whatever,
Yeah.
and then starts to notice that there's like this, whether it's a person slowly walking behind you, even at a decent distance, but close enough to know that you're kind of being followed, or a car that might be rolling slowly. All these creepy things start to happen. Ultimately, what
Right.
it is a curse that is placed upon her, that has been passed down, and it's transferred victim to victim through
For what,
sexual
for fucking?
intercourse. Yes. It's basically a play on the theme of STDs and how scary that could be, kind of a thing. So there's a lot of smart shit out there.
Okay.
Cell. Not The Cell with Jennifer Lopez and Vincent D'Onofrio, which is also a great dream horror movie if you want to check that out. But Cell, John Cusack and Samuel L. Jackson. Basically, an insane signal goes out because we're also plugged in. Trash Talk podcast that we follow did a thing about this week, an episode about like, are we too plugged in with our devices?
Yes.
And we talked about nomophobia
Yes.
last week. Anyone that was either on a cell phone, Bluetooth, hooked in somehow, earbuds in the computer, all of a sudden a wave of frequency goes out and it zaps them at that
Can't
moment.
we just see that?
Something similar. We watched Kingsman. Similar concept. And
Okay.
Samuel L. Jackson was in that too.
Okay,
But
because that
this-
just triggered. I'm like, didn't we just see
They're
something
almost
that?
like zombies. They started to call them phoners after
Yeah.
a while, and they flock like birds. Like they're all like sit there and they go, they have their mouth open, but it sounds like the dial-up tone.
Okay.
From old, it's creepy. It's very creepy. Interesting movie. Bad ending.
What about
also a Stephen King adaptation?
What about Shaun of the Dead?
Shaun of the Dead makes the list as well. God bless you, bud. That is us all day. All day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh.
What about World War Z?
World War Z
How'd
would
you
also
feel
be
about
considered.
that?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I thought Brad Pitt was a little too calm the entire time.
World,
Like he's seen this before. I didn't appreciate that part.
World War Z or I Am Legend? Which one do you think would is better? I kind of feel World War Z
Yes,
was a little bit
I
better.
feel like that's better. I mean, and it has nothing to do with the recent Will Smith news, but just, I mean, the acting in I Am Legend
Yeah.
says a lot about Will Smith as an actor because it's him by himself the entire time, basically.
I feel
with
like
the
there
dog.
wasn't
Like,
enough
that's tough.
action. There was so much.
There was a lot
there
of
was so much
story.
downtime.
A little too much.
Right.
That's where too much of a story can also turn you off of a horror movie. You need
Yeah.
a little bit more.
Yeah. Now, do you consider? Because I don't. Do you consider any of the Resident Evil movies
Sure.
horror movies?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But same thing. Played out, a franchise that just seems to go on forever. They just did a Netflix series.
Like okay, after Resident Evil 2, after that,
Right, Raccoon
it
City,
just
and
right,
then
which
there
was
was-
still
fine.
which was good. But
Still
then,
bad, but it was
then,
good.
But then you go on, and now you have fucking now they have fucking their own guns that they and it's just then it get fucking crazy to where now it's not even believable. Now it's so outlandish that
I do like the concept of Umbrella Corp.
yes,
That's very realistic to
yes, yeah.
me.
We call that Raytheon down here.
Oh. Or Lockheed Martin. Which brings us to sci-fi horror. Event Horizon. Lawrence Fishburne and Sam Neill from Jurassic Park. If you want to talk about black holes and alternate dimensions, folding space and time manipulation, going insane in deep, dead space. Good luck fucking getting out there. The Cloverfield Paradox, which we mentioned. And I'm glad you mentioned Shaun of the Dead because The World's End, which was their third film after Hot Fuzz. Did you ever see that one?
What?
They go back to The World's End. They go to do a pub crawl back to their old town, but everything's the same, but a little bit different.
No.
A little sci-fi horror
No,
comedy
I've
for you.
Never seen it.
The Invisible Man.
What about,
A scientist
what about
that-
Slender Man? Is that a thing? Slender
That
Man?
is a thing. I haven't seen it. I guess it's just the fact of the uncanny valley effect. Really tall, humanoid-looking thing, but something's off about it, and I don't know. It's just really tall and lanky and has enormous, longer arms than there should be. Shadowy figure, but I don't know much about it.
Here's a question: do you think because everyone's talking about what is it, Jeffrey Dahmer?
Mm.
Could documentaries
They can instill fear. Yeah.
be involved?
I mean, they have.
I wouldn't
We're on a
say so-
podcast. There's plenty of true crime podcasts and murder podcasts that people just flock right
I
to.
wouldn't say it's a Halloween theme. I guess it's not really Halloween theme because it could happen. I don't know.
It could happen at any time, and that's
Right.
exactly what had happened. The only thing that upsets me about this Jeffrey, and I'm not going to say what you think I'm going to. I don't know if it's the white woke liberals or if it's the Facebook Karens, or rather nasty combination of both. Spoiler alert for the Jeffrey Dahmer series, if you haven't followed the fucking case anyway. What I found out while watching that, and this is the one thing I didn't know before, his father was trying to write a book. About, once he was convicted and everything was said and done, his father was going to write a book about, basically, I should have noticed the signs, I should have noticed all of these things, and I didn't, and look at what happened, considering what had happened to him throughout his life, not to say that it's an excuse,
Right.
but this is how it ended up. And of course, you know, they got sued, a class action lawsuit, because it was they were going to make money off a book.
Yeah.
So all the proceeds, so this class action lawsuit still exists.
Yeah,
The profits are going to the fucking families, folks. The more Jeffrey Dahmer stuff that comes out, the more beneficial it is for those families. And he wants to, it's bringing it all back up. You think they fucking forgot?
No.
If somebody tried to manipulate and rape one of my brothers and ended up chopping his body up and dissolving it in a vat and ate his fucking heart while he was at it, you think I'd ever forget that?
You know what else?
Bringing
brings
it back up,
How
you
much
selfish
how
fucks.
much the cops sucked back then?
Oh,
And
they
then-
didn't even want to go in his apartment.
Exactly.
They didn't care that it was black people. They
Yeah.
didn't care that it was gay people.
Yeah. All right. Do you have like a top 5 favorite characters?
Oh,
Halloween
100%.
characters? I do.
Go for it.
Okay, real quick. I'm just gonna name them off. Freddy. Love
Good
love
one.
me. The Headless Horseman.
Okay.
Jigsaw.
Great character.
Jigsaw.
The doll?
Yes.
Or the... It's a good icon, yes.
Leatherface.
Yes.
And Edward Scissorhands, which Johnny Depp played well in.
That wasn't scary. Did it disturb you, though?
No.
Him?
I liked him, though. It was,
Yeah.
like, I liked that whole
He was
character
kind of
stuff.
like a very...
It was supposed to be
He was like,
scary.
if Freddy Krueger was a gimp and into bondage, like that's pretty much what
If he
we're
was
doing.
if he was woke, pretty
Yes,
much.
yeah.
What'd you have?
I would recommend the Evil Dead series to anyone. My brother Matt got me these, not only the collector's edition, which has all 3, but then Evil Dead 2 Solo and Army of Darkness. Look, they put me on the cover.
I'm just surprised that you still have DVDs. Like, it's kind of ancient.
Hey, he has VHS. Dude, that's what I mean. You could, for his birthday or Christmas, you could go to the Oldsmar flea market and buy a bunch of old VHS tapes for 5 cents each, because to him, that's a collector's item. It's a hard copy of something that is obsolete technologically nowadays, and he really does appreciate that.
If I gave you...
But Bruce Campbell would be mine. If I could be anyone, I'd be Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell.
Fucking chainsaw arm.
So if you
groovy.
wanted it, so if someone said any Halloween character or horror movie
Well, I
character,
mean, it's Ash Williams is the
Right,
character, but
but,
played by Bruce Campbell.
right? Okay,
Yes.
okay.
I would just have to, eat the fact that my name is really Ashley.
Mine would be Freddy. Just the fact that he terrorized you, and
You would make a good Freddy because you cuss a lot already.
yeah. I mean, that's
perfect for
fucking
you.
that's fucking true.
That's perfect for you.
What? Now I'm not condoning violence of anything, but like, what is like your favorite weapon of any movie that has been used?
Like from, it's probably gonna be slasher film.
Yeah,
if
yeah.
I'm
In
really
the
thinking-
slasher
Actually, you know what?
category.
No, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, a great B horror movie.
What they use?
They had a little ray gun, and when they shoot you, you become basically cocooned in cotton candy. And then they bring you back to their ship and hang you up, and then they put a silly straw into it and suck your blood out through it.
Okay.
Cotton candy gun.
Okay.
The popcorn gun was cool, but I'm going with the cotton candy gun.
I kind of liked. I can't think of the word, and I'm botching this, but there's a scene where the Headless Horseman had dual, like, battle axes, like not the
Okay.
big, not the they were like the
Hatchets.
shorter hatchet ones.
Right.
And his fucking.
It was just one side. It wasn't double sided.
Right, but
okay.
he had
that's a hatchet.
like a Kimbo.
Tomahawk.
He had like a Kimbo versions, and his fucking, to me, I'm like, oh, that'd be fucking cool.
Well, when he throws the flaming pumpkin head, that's pretty badass himself. I could just take my head off and
Right,
fucking
and
launch
just
it
the
at
fact that like one of the guys, spoiler alert, put a knife through him and he just fucking ate it like it was nothing, and then just sliced it fucking off, and yeah, it was nice.
Oh, man. What about ones you hate? Or just specific. You see, Guillermo del Toro to me and M. Night Shyamalan are awful. Because they come up with great concepts that are mind-bending, and then their story just doesn't deliver at the end. It sucks.
I think Jeepers Creepers kind of sucks.
Okay.
I think Scream is another one that sucks.
Thank
It's
you.
just
It's not scary.
It's just not.
You like scary movies? This isn't one.
They should honestly. Scary movies should come back and make fun of more of these current movies.
Oh, very true.
I'm just saying,
Right.
it'd be kind of fun. I didn't like Saw. And
No?
I know what you're gonna say. I like
I know,
Jigsaw,
that's
but I
fine.
just saw the concept. I'm like,
I
just
enjoyed
like,
it.
to me, it felt like you were just putting in multiple murder scenes and
Well, you
putting
have a
it
choice.
together.
You have a choice. All those people have a choice based on something that's done with them. For example, I did go see Spiral with Chris Rock. Now, Chris Rock was weird being serious and a cop. I'll give you that. But the first kill is a guy that is suspended in a subway in the tunnel with a contraption wrapped around his tongue
Oh,
that start to pull up,
you
and
showed
the
me
train's
that
coming
shit,
to
yeah.
right because he was a snitch or
Yeah.
he did something, he was a dirty cop or whatever, and it was so guess what, you're gonna lose the thing that you're a piece of shit. It's almost like what's it called, Sharia law, cutting off the evil body part
Yeah.
because you need to be cleansed. So because of those concepts, I enjoyed the Saw series. Did it kind of get a little wild and Saw 3D and was a bit much?
Yeah.
I agree with you on that. But overall, I did enjoy them.
Well, remember, everybody, this Halloween season, there is plenty of movies, many different categories to go around. So
He's a pod person. I'm
I don't know what the fuck that was. But
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
But on
Donald Sutherland.
On that note, have fun watching whatever.
Let it eat, folks.
That sound just fucking blew my mind.
I'm just gonna start day drinking.
I don't know.
and-
I don't.
We